Hello artists! Today we are making snail artwork based on the graphic designer and illustrator Flora Chang. For this artwork you will need a white piece of paper, pencil, and something to outline or trace with. You have a couple different options. I have my Sharpie, but if you have a fine point marker, that's even better. Or if you don't have either of those, just an ink pen would work really well for this artwork as well. So any of those things. You could also choose to use a black colored pencil, but just something to outline with. So some of these artworks that we have right here are two of Flora Chang's snail artworks. And the thing that makes Flora Chang's artwork so cute is that she makes each and every drawing of hers different. She loves to sketch. She loves to use just a marker and draw on a sketchbook and just create many different characters to make you feel warm and happy. So today we're going to make a card and we're going to put a snail on ours just like Flora Chang makes. So for this artwork you want to start with a white piece of paper, and to make your card you want to fold it in half. So I have my paper vertical and I took the top of my page and I folded it neatly down to the bottom, and I tried my best to line it up straight. I don't want my card to be crooked, because the nice thing about cards that are horizontal is you could stand them up on the table. So you want it to be nice and straight so it can stand up when you finish your artwork. So go ahead and fold your paper so that you have a card, and we are going to create our drawing on the front using our pencil. So we are going to start by making a few different snails. Our first snail is going to have a rainbow line shell. And then we need the bottom of our shell. So connect it horizontal going across. And then we need a snail body and face coming out of this shell. So I'm looking at this little guy up here, and he almost looks like he's got an oval body. So underneath, let's make an oval for our snail body. And then let's give our snail some decorations. Let's give our snail some eyes. You can make your eyes any way you want. I'm going to give my snail a little smile. And I'm going to give my snail antenna. So I'm going to draw two lines coming up and put a circle at the top for a first antenna. And then two more lines and put a circle at the top for a second antenna. You could leave your snail just like this, or you could add decorations to your snail shell. Snail shells are also known as their homes, so if we're looking at Flora Chang's artwork, this little snail, his shell is actually decorated to look like a home. There's also another house shell over here. There's some shells that just have lines, vertical and horizontal lines to make them crisscrossed. And then there's others that have fancy patterns on them. So when you're decorating your shell, you could do anything you want to it. I'm looking at this little guy down here, and he has wavy U-shaped lines on his shell. I think that's kind of cute. So on mine, I'm going to make little U-shapes going across. But you could just do lines, you could do stripes, you could do circles. You could do any shape you want, any design you want on your snail shell. So we have our first snail. Now we're going to make snail friends. So for this snail is going to have a big head. We're going to start with its head with a line that comes up, diagonal, then go over horizontal, and let's come back down. So it's almost like an upside down triangle, but I didn't connect it at the bottom. The bottom's still open because I have to make a snail body. And you can make your body touch your head. let's give this snail had dot eyes, so this time I'm going to make circle eyes. And draw the inside of your eyes. You can make circles that are right in the center if he's looking forward. You could also make your snail looking up, looking down, looking to the left, to the right. You could change its eyes. Give your snail a nose. Give your snail a mouth. I'm going to make mine really happy. And our snail needs antenna again, so 2 lines on top. And connect it with a circle. 2 lines on top. Connect it with the circle. Starting to look like a snail, except he's missing his shell. He doesn't have his home. So for its shell, I'm going to draw almost a rectangle, but it's kind of curvy on top. Almost like a rainbow line again. And I picked this one because I thought it was super cute because it has freckles, it has a hat, and it has a lot of stripes on its shell. So for yours, you could do the same thing and make it match. Like on my snail shell, I'm going to make stripes going in all different directions. I like that freckles idea. Except I do not want to add a hat to mine. I want mine to be a girl snail, so I'm going to give it eyelashes. And I'm going to make a bow. To make a bow, I'm going to make a triangle. And then touching it, another triangle. So this little snail, I turned her into a girl snail. Alright friends, we now have 2 snails. We have to make a 3rd friend, and this is going to be our challenge shell of the day. We're going to try to make a spiral. A spiral is a line that goes around and around and around. It starts in the middle and it gets bigger. So to make a spiral, first we're going to make our shell shape. So let's start with our rainbow line. Let's make a line at the bottom for the bottom of our shell. And then I'm going to make a dot in the middle. My goal is to go from this dot, and I'm going to slowly draw out and around. And I'm going to keep going around and around. And then I'm going to come down and touch this corner. This might be a little tricky. This might be a bit of a challenge. So once again, I started at the dot in the middle, and I slowly went around and around and around to connect it back to the corner. Once you have your spiral on your shell, you can give it the body any way you want. You could make it another oval body. You could make it another rectangle head body. This time I'm going to make a round head connected to my shell and make it have a body underneath. So you could change your snails. You also need to give it a face. This one I'm going to give circle eyes looking back at its shell. It wants to make sure its shell's on its back. Antenna. I'm going to give it little circle cheeks and a smile with a little bitty nose. So now I have 3 snails. For the rest of the artwork, I want you to fill up the front of your card with either more snails or other decorations. You could add flowers. Flora Chang likes to draw flowers a lot. You could draw, she has a rainbow, and her rainbow has clouds and little raindrops coming down. So I want you to finish filling in your card, filling in your cover, but draw whatever you want. So if you want to draw more snails, go for it. But if you want to draw other things, you can change it any way you want. I'm going to draw another little snail shell down here. But this time it's going to be like the snail down here at the bottom. So I'm drawing a circle. And I'm going to go from this side, down and around and back up. And I'm going to keep doing that. I'm going to start at this side, go down and around and back up. And one more time, this side, down and around and back up. And add a body underneath. So I started on this side with the head and went around and connected the tail. This snail's going to have an open mouth. It's got a tongue, little dot eyes. And I'm going to make its antenna sticking out to the side. His antennae are not going straight. You could also make extra snails that just have really simple shells. So you could just keep them as a rainbow line with a line on the bottom. And then make your snails any way you want. I'm making a head, connecting it to the shell, and then making a line underneath. Give it a face. This one's sad. He's small. He wants to grow. Antenna. And decorate its shell any way you want. I'm just going to make crisscross lines. So I'm going to make 2 vertical lines. And 3, 1, 2, 3 horizontal lines. I think I want to make one more snail up top. I need to fill in this top space still. So I'm looking at this big guy. I think he's got a fun face. So I'm going to make an oval for my snail face. And then an oval or almost like a circle coming off to the side. That's his shell. And this guy's eyes are up on his antenna. He's got like wiggly eyes. So 2 eyes up above and then connect them to the snail. Two little dots for his nose. And I'm going to make an open mouth. So a line that curves down, a line that curves up. And this snail's funny because he's got lots of little teeth. So draw all your little teeth. And then decorate your shell. Decorate your shell any way you want. I'm going to decorate mine with zigzag lines. So now I've got a nice little group of snails on the front of my card. I could leave it like this, or I could keep drawing. You are more than welcome to add as many snails as you can. Fill up your paper. I'm going to set my pencil to the side, and now it's time to get out my outlining marker. So your Sharpie marker, your fine point marker, pen, colored pencil. If you don't have any of those things, you could use a black crayon as well. So get out your tracing media. And I'm going to put, since I'm using a marker, my marker paper inside my card because I don't want the ink going through my paper. Now that my work is outlined, it is your choice if you want to add color to your illustration. Flora Chang sometimes leaves her artwork just as black and white line drawings, but sometimes she colors them in with really bright colors. Once you're done coloring, if you decide to do that step, your last step is to do the inside of your card. Cards have messages on the inside, so now we want to open our card up and decide, who are you sending this card to? What is the message you want to say to them? There's a couple different suggestions that I thought of. You could just say, welcome spring. Maybe you're telling someone to have a great day. Or you can make it snail specific. Snails are really slow, so maybe you want to say, take your time. Snailed it. Slime feeling good. We shall overcome. So you could write a silly snail message or a spring message or just a kindness message. It is your choice. I think that since snails are slimy, that slime feeling good is kind of funny. So I'm going to use my Sharpie. You could use your pencil or your crayon to write with, whatever you have, and write your message